Welcome to The Fitterist Show with your host, Christopher Allen, where we explore the art of mind and body conditioning. Welcome to The Fitterist Show, and today's topic is of the top 10 list variety, and it is the top 10 documentary food, diet / nutrition movies. And there's a lot of movies in this category, and I've just selected a sampling that have both been pretty highly viewed and fairly well rated on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. And some of these movies will undoubtedly spark some controversy, and some were designed to do exactly just that. But the goal is not really to get into an in-depth review of each movie, but to take a quick look at the movie list subset at a high level to see if any spark an interest, to check them out more, and to learn a bit more. Many of these movies are available on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So just as a little background, I'll cite a UCLA study that said that 2/3 of people on a diet not only regain all of the weight prior to starting the diet, but they actually regain more weight than when they started. And that's not, unfortunately, atypical. Food consumption is a choice, and the goal of this particular show is to help you make an informed decision, but balance that with the enjoyment of life. And this is where I'll interject a little bit of my own belief, but I think that balancing any type of diet or nutrition plan with the backdrop of still enjoying life, being able to go out to dinner socially, have dessert, have a candy bar at Halloween or donuts with your family on a Sunday morning, is very crucial toward the longevity and sustainability of a food plan. Now, some of these movies clearly have an agenda, and if you believe everything that's in every movie, your takeaway will probably be that everything will degrade your health and or kill you. So, take it with a grain of salt, and full pun intended, as salt is essential for you. Too much of it could also be bad for you, by the way. But overall, the goal is to increase your awareness of some of the theories that are out there on food consumption and increase your responsibility as you increase your awareness. So with that short background, let's jump into the list. The first movie on the list is from 2004, Supersize Me. And this is where documentary filmmaker Morgan Spurlock explores the consequences of an all McDonald's food for a period of 30 days. So for 30 days, he can't eat or drink anything that isn't on the McDonald's menu. He has to consume everything on the menu at least once, and anytime at any McDonald's restaurant, if he's asked to supersize his meal, he must always do so. So it's an interesting journey as he drives all the way across the country, dining at different McDonald's establishments, seeing what the health implications as he gets his blood work done on a consistent basis throughout the 30-day period, just to see the impact of a purely fast food diet on one's health. And it's interesting to see, from my perspective, not only the physical, but also the emotional changes that take place as he really struggles through that 30 days. So that is Supersize Me. Number 2 on the list, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead from 2010. And I'll lump in Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead 2, which was released in 2014. So this is a documentary about Joe Cross, who was over 100 pounds overweight. He was suffering from a debilitating autoimmune disease. He was over 300 pounds, and he decided to drink only fruit and vegetable juice for 60 days to lose weight and try to reclaim his health. So he drives across the country, the United States, talking to Americans about food, health, longevity, and he meets some interesting people. A truck driver who's probably in worse shape than he is. The guy tips the scales over 400 pounds. And he talks to this guy to begin his own journey to get well by starting with a juicing diet. So it's almost like Supersize Me in reverse. If you think about it, it's someone who is trying to go from being in a debilitating physical state due to poor diet and just neglect for many, many years, and trying to get healthy via juicing. Number 3 on the list is a movie from 2011, Forks Over Knives, and I'm going to also include its sequel, which is called Plant Pure Nation in 2015. The premise of Forks Over Knives is really exploring the claim that many degenerative diseases that afflict us can be controlled or potentially even reversed by rejecting an animal-based, processed food-based diet and move to a plant-based diet. And the documentary filmmaker, his name is Lee Fulkerson, and he looks at diseases and illnesses that potentially could be reversed when shifting to a plant-based diet. And they compare a lot of these illnesses, such as liver cancer, relative to other areas of the world where people are consuming primarily plant-based diets. So it's an interesting concept in looking at replacing animal-based foods with plant-based foods to essentially help the body heal itself. And the Plant Pure Nation sequel is where they try and take this concept and propose a pilot program. They run into challenges and opposition that they did not expect to this diet concept. So, again, interesting movies, very, very pro-vegan as the solution. Number 4 on the list is Food Matters from 2008, and it opens with an interesting quote, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food," from Hippocrates, the father of medicine, and really explores how a selective diet can play a key role in treating a range of different health conditions, and how the over-industrialization of food production and the lack of nutrients and minerals in the soil further erode the nutritional value of crops that are grown. The movie covers a lot of consumption of raw, unprocessed foods as a key part of one's diet. And it also looks at how to uncover some of the business of disease, big dollars, big business, while at the same time exploring potential alternatives that are safer, cheaper, and potentially effective use of nutrition, supplementation, for either preventing or possibly reversing some of the underlying causes of illnesses. Number 5 on the list is Food Incorporated from 2009 by Robert Kenner. And it really examines how giant corporations have taken over all aspects of the food chain production, from farms to the restaurants, supermarkets, and how that production of food overall has dramatically changed. The consolidation of the global food production business has really driven companies to look at maximizing profitability, thereby using herbicides, pesticides, chemicals to maximize the yield of crops, where the health and safety of potentially the food itself, of the animals, of the workers, and consumers actually eating the food is sometimes overlooked by the companies, and are often overlooked by the government in an effort to continue to provide cheap food regardless of some of these trade-offs and maybe negative consequences. Coming in at number 6 on the list is Fed Up from 2014, directed by Stephanie Sochtek. And it is looking at the obesity epidemic in the United States and the role of the food industry in its propagation. It's narrated by Katie Couric and really takes a strong look at why this generation of American children will very likely live shorter lives than their parents did due to childhood and adult onset obesity, diabetes, and complications arising from some of these illnesses. There's some claims in the movie that up to 80% of food items in America have sugar in them, which is staggering as a data point. But just a contrarian point to that, if you look at sugar consumption in the United States, it actually declined between 1999 and 2008, yet the obesity rates have continued to climb. So again, there's not one magic bullet that is the ultimate culprit, but the movie does try to upend some of the conventional wisdom of why we gain weight, how we try to lose it, how the American food industry makes it extremely challenging to do so. Number 7 on the list is What the Health from 2017, filmed by Kip Anderson. It's really a sequel to the movie Cowspiracy and really examines healthcare in America and the role of government, big business, and the food industry, and maybe more specifically, the health impact of dairy, meat products, their consumption, and its impact on our personal health. One data point suggested in the movie implies that eating one egg yolk is as bad for you as smoking 5 cigarettes. I find that a little bit of a stretch. And another data point in the movie is they describe the classification of processed meats that have been classified in the same category as cigarettes and asbestos, which is true, but there is a wide spectrum of danger here. So if you look at some of the World Health Organization data, about 34,000 cancer deaths per year worldwide are attributable to diets high in processed meat, while about 1 million cancer deaths are due to tobacco smoking, 600,000 due to alcohol consumption, 200,000 per year due to air pollution worldwide. So again, perspective relative to movie agenda, something to keep in mind here. Number 8 on the list is In Defense of Food from 2015. It's based on a New York Times bestselling book by Michael Pollan. Trivia factoid, Michael Pollan is Tracy Pollan's brother. Tracy Pollan is Michael J. Fox's wife. Anyway, the movie In Defense of Food tackles a question around what should I be consuming to be healthy. And the argument made in the movie is really around eating real food. Pollan identifies a lot of food-like products, imitations of food, genetically engineered food, things that are not really food that you may want to avoid and or substitute real food in its place. I'll highlight a couple of the points because I think they're interesting in their simplicity. 1, don't eat anything that your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. 2, avoid food products that make health claims, because if they're making health claims, that must be they have packaging surrounding the product on which to make health claims. Could call into question why they're making the health claim. Number 3, get out of the supermarket. Try to go to farmers markets, getting fresh produce, leafy green vegetables, etc. 4, try and eat mostly plants, especially leaf-based products. 5, eat wild foods when you can. And 6, just eat less. Don't eat until you're gorged and completely full. So some simple concepts in the movie In Defense of Food. Number 9 on the list is Hungry for Change, a movie from 2012 that really seeks to expose some of the secrets of the diet, weight loss, and food industry, deceptive strategies designed to keep you coming back for more. Again, they link a lot of illnesses, obesity to diet, and also try to share some transformational stories with those people who have made changes from being overweight on their health journey. And if you didn't already know, foods are engineered to drive repetitive consumption. There are billions and billions of dollars spent on flavoring dust for salty snack products, just as an example. And finally, coming in at number 10 on the list is Bite Size from 2014, directed by Corbin Billings. While it's less of a scientific, data-driven film, Bite Size is more of a feature documentary that looks at obesity through the experiences of 4 children from diverse backgrounds that are fighting for their health every day. The movie takes a much more direct human look at the lives of these children, all of the influences that come into play when they are overweight and or diabetic at a very young age. I really enjoyed the human perspective of the film and the battle that these kids go through on a daily basis. It is not easy, and they fight one day at a time. So there you have it. That's a list of 10 documentary food nutrition movies that I found interesting. So what are my key takeaways from these films? 1, choose a healthy lifestyle that balances nutrition and exercise. This is something that's so important. You have the power to choose what you eat. You are in control of what goes in your mouth. And you can absolutely make it happen. Key takeaway number 2. There is no magic bullet or magic food or magic diet or magic drink that will solve all of the problems. It's around forming habits which take time, and overnight success always has a history. Key takeaway number 3. Food is big business. There is a lot of money in the sugar, the fast food, the processed food industries. If you're not sure, just go into any grocery store, convenience store, and just look at the products. It's also important to remember that many of the health organizations receive funding from companies and trade groups that are not necessarily in line with health. They're in the business of making money, but they often provide funding to these trade groups. Also, food product, as Michael Pollan would say, is specifically designed and engineered to look better, taste better, get you to crave and consume more of the product. And good health overall makes a ton of sense, but there are a lot of dollars in the big food, big pharma, big medical that aren't necessarily always in line with that. Key takeaway number 4. Food selection is very important, probably the most important choice in one's diet. So learn, research, make sure that you can make an informed decision on what works for you. And remember that food, drinks, candy are all marketed much more aggressively, and their job is to sell more food. Key takeaway number 5. Diet, it's not a dirty word. It's ultimately a collection of decisions about how you fuel your body on a consistent basis. And if you don't like the word diet, some people don't like to say they're on a diet, you can use nutrition plan or food regimen. I like the word diet just because it's simple and it reminds me that I'm making trade-offs, but that's just me. Key takeaway number 6. Don't forget to enjoy life. Now look, eating half a dozen donuts for breakfast every morning is probably not a good idea, but eating a donut or two once a month when you're out to breakfast with your family or friends, in my view, is part of enjoying life. And if you eat well 90+% of the time, when you go out for a cheat meal or you want to order dessert with dinner, you know you have the discipline to get right back on your diet, and then you can enjoy, be in the moment, enjoy that dessert. So don't forget to enjoy life. It's important. So those were the key takeaways from this collection of movies. If there's a movie that I missed or something you want to share, feel free to do so, and we'll catch you soon. Thank you for taking the time to listen to The Fitterist Show, and I hope there's useful information for you here. As always, send us any comments, questions, thoughts, ideas that you have via the website at www.fitterist.com, or you can send us an email anytime to questions@fitterist.com. Love to hear your ideas. Just a reminder, you can follow us on Instagram at FitteristMindBody. And if you enjoyed this episode, please send it to a friend or subscribe. Make sure you don't miss out on any future episodes. My name's Christopher Allen, and make it a magical day.